Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's that time of the year again where I batch prepare a bunch of herbs. I'm doing a little more than I usually do. So over here I have peeled 3 big bags of garlic. So I just have bowls everywhere because there's just been one prep after the other. Anyway, went to Costco and I got a ton of garlic. I use a lot of garlic in my cooking, so this is nothing really, and I'm used to this because this is what I used to do with my mom and my sisters on our long break. I'm processing this garlic in 3 different ways. I'm going to be packing some as is, just so that I have something to blend my peppers with. So maybe I'm making vegetable soup, or I have some stews and sauces and I need garlic. I've also kept some garlic whole like this. They're still here in the basket. So this is going into 3 different portions. Like I said, I'm keeping some whole, I'm keeping some grated, and I'm also going to be making some garlic oil out of this, and I'm going to be making some garlic powder with the peels. This is my dehydrator. My husband got this for me as a wedding gift a couple of years ago, and it has been the best thing ever since. So in here I have my onion peels. I also have some onions here. So this is a mix of brown and purple onions. I'm going to be making onion powder out of this as well. I'm also going to be making some ginger powder as well. I'm just going to be processing the rest of these tonight. I actually started this process yesterday, and that's how I've been able to get this far. I need to go ahead and chop up these onions. I'm also going to be using this product I got from this amazing brand. It's Paudin. So they sent me this set of knives, and gosh, you need to see. Really lovely. So let's do a really quick unboxing here, and then we'll go ahead to process these onions. All right, so this is how the knives came. They came really well packed in this immaculate packaging, and it also came with a manual. They just let you know what each knife is about, as well as a warranty card. And all of the knives were properly packed, and this is my favorite. I absolutely love that first knife, and it also came with a couple of paring knives as well. I absolutely love this set. They have been such a game changer in my kitchen ever since. Thank you again to Pauldin for sponsoring this segment of the video. The link to this product will be in my description box as per usual. I just set the knives in my knife stand here, and it just looks and fits so well into my kitchen. Anyway, let's move on with this video. That's it for the knives. I just go ahead and chop up the onions. I cut them as finely as I possibly could, and the knives obviously made it very easy. Very sharp, very durable, and they have a very nice balance to them, the weight of the knives, I mean. Anyway, I just layered this on 2 trays, and I went ahead to put that in my dehydrator and get that going while I continue with the rest of the prep. I have my onion peels here. I'm just going to remove them because they're dry now, and I'm also going to blend them off camera. You get to see that much later in the video. You also see what I get to do with the peels and how they become spices at the end of the day. All right, so these are my 2 trays of sliced onions. If I knew, I would have done more, but anyway, that's my 2 onions there. I'm just going ahead to go on with the rest of the onions. I'm going to be freezing this portion. I'm going to chop them up and then put them in freezer bags. That way I have onions on hand. I don't have to chop onions every single time I want to cook. Also, if you don't like to see large cuts of onions in your food, I also recommend this method as well, because it goes a long way to help you minimize the appearance of onion in your meal, and you can also reduce the amount of prep you're doing every time you cook. So yeah, this is what the onions look like. They look very grated. So people go ahead to strain theirs. I like mine with the juice, and I feel like the juice also helps it stay better in the fridge or in the freezer. So I'm just portioning that into my freezer bags. This took about 2 freezer bags per portion, and then I'm going to show you how I score it and how I prep it for the freezer. I'm just going ahead to label it with the date and what it is, just so that you know if anyone else is in the kitchen, they know what it is and how long it has been there. Obviously all of this does not last for a whole year, but it lasts me a couple of months, maybe about 6 to 8 months, and I just get to plan my life in the whole time that I have that in the freezer. Anyway, moving on to the garlic, I've kept some whole. Like I said, I've also gone ahead to chop up some as well, so I have some minced garlic on hand, and this is much better than the pre-cut or the mash that you get in the store, because you obviously know what you put inside your garlic. Anyway, I have a whole bag of whole garlic. I have about 2 bags of minced garlic, and I'm going ahead to prepare 3 trays of my minced garlic. These are going to be blended with the garlic peels, and that's what is going to constitute my garlic powder. I'm getting every single drop of my garlic because this garlic is so precious, and the amount of blood and sweat that went into peeling 3 bags of garlic, guys, it was not easy. Anyway, moving on to the ginger, there's no time to rest here. I started this process, see, around 10 p.m. and I didn't finish until around maybe a few minutes to 12. But anyway, I'm washing the garlic or the ginger with some warm water and salt. I'm going to scrub that about 2 times, and then it was time to chop up. I'm going to be mincing the first batch, and this one I'm not going to process at all. I'm just going to pack this straight away into a bag so that I have minced ginger on hand. This goes into my jollof rice, any stir fry is great for all of that as well. I'm going ahead to prepare the last batch of ginger, and this is going into 2 things. So I put a little water into the chopped ginger. I'm going to blend this, save the juice, and I have that in my tea, in smoothies and whatever. And I'm also going to have the pulp of this. I'm going to have that converted into ginger powder. So the pulp is going to be squeezed out for every drop of ginger that I have. Obviously, the more you squeeze, the less time it spends in the dehydrator. So this is just going to go in my dehydrator as is, and then I'm going to dry that up and blend it, and that's how I get my ginger powder. So I'm just going ahead to portion all of the ginger juice into bottles, some big, some small, depending on what I have on hand. At the end of the day, I had about 5 small ones and 2 big ones. I'm also going to be using one of them for my zobo. You get to see that much later in the vlog. I'm also going to go ahead and chop up my pineapple. This is for my pineapple cleanse. The OGs on the channel know this already. The pineapple cleanse is something I do once every month, and I got this really sweet pineapple from Costco. And I want to tell you guys that this is the first time that I noticed that pineapples have seeds. I never knew this before. I just kept seeing these really small things in the pineapple, and I kept looking, what's this for? Anyway, these things I'm chopping up, the core of the pineapple I'm chopping up here. Someone told me I can use this to boil meat, and it acts as a tenderizer for meat. I have tried this, you know, because my videos are filmed well in advance. I have tried this boiled meat with this, and it helps to soften the meat. I can tell you that for free. So every part of the pineapple is useful. I'm also saving the peel of the pineapples for zobo. You get to see that later. This is my juice for the pineapple. I'm just passing that through my juicer here. I'm going to have that the next day. That's why it's going in a bottle. I'm also mixing some ginger with that because it tastes really nice with the ginger in there. So this is how I prepare my mince for the freezer. I'm going ahead to roll them really flat so that they're level, and then I'm going to score them with this bench scraper here, so it's like in a grid. I don't know if you can see that properly, but I'll show you that with the garlic. You'll be able to see that much better. You can see the grid lines. It kind of looks like herbs. But anyway, that's everything I was able to do for that night. The next morning, I checked on my garlic and onions. At this point, I can see that the onions were getting there, not quite there. So I checked on everything, but the most satisfying part for me was this garlic. You see, it was so satisfying to just peel it off the parchment paper and see how far it has dried up. You can see that it's also changed color slightly, and this is as far as it's going to go, as you know, the color changes. So as you see, the farther I move down on the dehydrator, you see that it's getting drier and drier. This one I couldn't even peel off at all. I literally had to crumble the whole paper to get the ginger off the parchment paper. So I've reversed the order of the items I have on my dehydrator. So now the onions are at the bottom and the ginger, sorry, why do I keep calling ginger garlic and garlic ginger, and the garlic is at the top of the pile. So anyway, I remove the parchment paper from the onions so that they dry faster. And yeah, this is what it's looking like much later in the day. I mean, this process took me almost 2.5 days, if I'm being honest. It was a long process, absolutely worth it. And I will definitely be doing this again. For some people, they rather buy store-bought, but I prefer to go through the stress just so that I know what's in my food. And I'm also looking to cut down on the stuff that I get from the store. If I can get this cheaper, or if I can get someone to do this on a wider scale, like if you have like a bigger oven, this is definitely advisable to do like for a larger portion. I'll show you what I was able to get from all of my mincing and all of my drying. You get to see the portions and everything that it came to at the end of the day. I'm just going ahead to dry the pulp of my ginger. Remember last night I blended this and I saved the juice in the fridge. I'm also just going to go ahead and spread this out on my 2 trays here and dry that in the dehydrator. This took very little time because I squeezed them really well. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and make the powder here. I'm going to go ahead and blend some garlic peels and the garlic granules that I have dried in the dehydrator, and this is what it looks like. It's really good. I don't like it when it's not very smooth, so I try to sieve it. I know it's a lot of stress, but it's what I want, and it came out really nice. Remember my salmon from the Costco haul? That's it. I've portioned that up as well, and that's gone in the fridge. I'm also going to go ahead and blend my onion powder as well. I'm blending this with the onion peel. This is the onion peel already blended, so that's blended together. And then I'm going to go ahead and make dinner while I'm doing all of this. I'm using this sea bass I got from Costco. This fish, I'm just going to score it and let it continue defrosting. As you can see, the fish was really frozen. And then I'm going to go ahead and prepare my zobo. Zobo was supposed to be for tonight, but I didn't remember to do this last night, so this is coming much later in the vlog. I'm washing my zobo leaves because I realized that there's so much sand with the zobo leaves, and you cannot begin to imagine how much sand is in there. All of that is sand, and it makes the zobo very unpalatable. I'm adding cloves in my tea bag here because it just helps to, you know, bring out the flavor a little more. I'm also adding my pineapple skins. They're already frozen from last night. And then I'm adding some African black pepper. This gives a peppery taste to the zobo, and it kind of gives you the earthy taste as well, so I like that. So if you don't want spicy, you can definitely skip it. It's not compulsory. I'm just adding water, stir that together and bring it to a boil. Now while that is going, I'm going to go ahead and make some pepper sauce for my fish. I'm adding some oil, my onions that I already froze from last night, and also a slab of garlic. You see how easy it was to just break off. No chopping, no mincing, no peeling of garlic. It's like you're doing the work of a couple of months in one day. You know, it makes the process a lot easier for me. That's what I feel. Like I didn't have to bring out my chopping board or cut up anything. It just made the work so much easier. It's a couple of hours work for a few months of enjoyment. I'm just spicing that as well with my garlic powder, curry, thyme. I'm going to add a little salt as well and some seasoning powder. This just makes my work really easy, and this just forms the base for the sea bass that I'm going to be seasoning much later in the vlog. Anyway, I have go ahead and combine some herbs here for the dry rub for the sea bass, because I like to have like a dry rub before the pepper mix. So the dry rub has salt, seasoning powder, garlic powder, ginger powder, white pepper, black pepper, cayenne pepper, and a little suya spice. And that's what I'm just rubbing together here before I add the pepper on top in between and underneath the fish. And I'm also going to layer that with some onions as well as some oil, and that's it. I'm going to seal up the bag and repeat this process 2 more times, just so that I have all of my fish coated with the egg and everything. It's all going in the air fryer because I have to get off my feet. I've been on my feet for a very long time. Anyway, this thing I've collapsed into like a 60-minute vlog. Took me a long time to film, and you know, it was worth it for me. I would definitely be doing this again. Like I said, it's been a long couple of days just prepping, and even though in Canada it's pepper season, for me this time of the year is what I love to do. So let me know in the comment section, is this something you are considering as well? I want to know. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.